When you go to Texas State, there's never a shortage of things to do. From engineering and opera to esports and fencing, we have it all and more. Listen to our new podcast, Try at Texas State, to learn more with me, Giselle, about the kind of organizations and programs that make Texas State so special, and to take a deep dive into niche subjects that find its way into our everyday lives. Listen on Apple Music or Spotify, and episodes release every other Wednesday.
This is Eddie Sanchez.
This is Rodney Crowder.
And you're now listening to a special mini episode of Enlighten Me. So the semester is going by super fast, Rodney.
Yeah, it really is. 2024 is rolling.
Yeah, it is. And here we are moving into April. And so for this particular episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about Earth Day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how familiar you are with Earth Day or how familiar the audience might be with Earth Day, but this is an annual celebration that celebrates the environmental movement, and essentially it's meant to raise awareness about our natural resources and just the importance of protecting our earth. And obviously, because we're here in San Marcos and we have the river and we have so much beautiful nature around us, I think this is a prime location where this being aware of this movement, being aware of Earth Day is very critical.
Oh yeah, we've got so many programs at Texas State that do green research and advocate for environmentally friendly and sustainable issues and awareness and education.
Yeah, and there's actually going to be an event here in town, and I'll talk about that a little bit later.
When is Earth Day?
So it's April 22nd in the United States. And so it started off in the United States. It started off in the 60s. It was a national environmental movement. Of course, the 60s was a big counterculture movement. And,
oh, absolutely.
Things were changing, So the first Earth Day was actually celebrated in 1970. There was millions of people that actually participated in that very first Earth Day. And because of that support, it actually helped to push for some environmental friendly legislation like the Clean Air Act and Endangered Species Act.
Oh, great.
So that was actually a pretty big movement. And so it was 20 years, I believe, that it was primarily just in the United States. And then eventually in 1990, the Earth Day would go global.
Yeah, it seems like it's really grown and expanded out across the globe.
Yeah, it has. Right now, there's actually over 190 participating countries. So Earth Day, essentially, it's a lot about providing information and kind of acting on this, acting on environmentalism. So activities often include, educating local populations, talking about green energy, sustainability, food and agriculture, providing civic engagement opportunities. So it's really about learning and teaching people how to be more in unison with our environment in a healthier way. And some things that people can do if they're interested in participating in Earth Day is they can plant a tree. They can get involved with the local community vegetable garden. I know that there's some here in San Marcos. Yeah. They can just volunteer. They can start a compost bin, recycle, donate. You can even pick up litter. I actually went to a river cleanup over the weekend. Which was
cool.
Yeah.
For the San Marcos River?
For the San Marcos River, yeah. I dug out a toilet.
Wait, like an actual
Yeah, an actual toilet.
Somebody dumped in our river?
It was more like on the
bank.
Yeah, on the
Still
bank.
Though.
Yeah,
Come on, people, do better.
Yeah, so definitely, Earth Day comes around. Definitely recommend people should volunteer to kind of clean up around their little area, however best they can. And actually, with that being said, so there's going to be an annual Earth Day San Marcos Festival at Spring Lake on Saturday, April 20th. And this is a free community-wide event. It's a family-friendly event, so people can come and just celebrate, our local natural resources. And
cool.
Connect with nature.
Can't think of a better place in San Marcos than Spring Lake and the Meadow Center there.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful area, and I mean, that's where the San Marcos headwaters, right? So
yeah, like every time I go out there, it's like it's hard to believe that you're still just a short walk from downtown, really.
Yeah,
but it's its own little like green world there.
Yeah, and if people haven't had the opportunity, I definitely recommend doing the bottom glass.
Oh, the glass bottom boats.
Glass bottom boat tours.
Yeah,
because those are super awesome, and it's just so interesting to see all the little fish and all the little springs and whatnot. So
come out, people, check it out.
So that was my quick little mini episode topic for today. Ronnie, what do you
Actually, we were kind of on the same wavelength here. Did you know Texas State has an Office of Sustainability?
I do, but I'm not too sure. I guess I just don't know really what they do.
It's relatively new for the university. It started a few years ago, but they coordinate a lot of sustainable and green programming. They partner with a lot of our departments, like the Meadows Center and our Department of Geography. They're hosting a groundwater symposium on April 2nd from 6 to 9 p.m. It's a good example of also how the university partners with a lot of other groups, because conservation and environmental groups from across the hill country really are signed on to participate.
Is that something that anybody can attend?
Yeah,
or?
Anybody can attend. It's free. It's
wow.
At the LBJ Student Center on campus in the Grand Ballroom, I believe. They also, if for any of our on-campus community, students, faculty, staff, check out the Office of Sustainability's website. They do have some get involved links on their webpage, and they've got a list for students of student groups, volunteer groups, service groups that do a lot of different things. We've got a beekeeping club on campus, Bobcat Buzz, that actually produces honey that I think they sell at farmers markets.
Oh, that wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
So do you know where that bee farm is at? Is that over at the...
I'm pretty sure
Freeman?
Somewhere on our Texas State YouTube we've got a video on it, but I have never been to the beehives.
Oh, that's pretty cool though. And the Office of Sustainability helps to coordinate that?
Yeah, they kind of coordinate and help get information out and things like that. And Bobcat Blend, there's a composting group, different departments, some of the academic units, of course, the Department of Agriculture has a couple of student service organizations that are focused on sustainability. Oh, at Earth Day, the event at Spring Lake that you just mentioned, Office of Sustainability is hosting a clothing swap. So kind of, that reduce, reuse, recycle, kind of keeping clothing out of landfills. And we have student workers in our office. We work on a college campus. You know, just from the chatter that a lot of the generation coming up now, our student generation, is really in a sustainable fashion. They shop at thrift stores, and
fast fashion is kind of out of the window, or at least it's moving away from that, which is really nice to see.
Just trying to reduce all that waste. And
because there's actually a ton of material waste that takes place because of fashion, because of clothing. So that's great to hear that there's going to be an opportunity for students to do a little bit of swapping and just reuse some clothes.
All right, so Earth Day, sustainability,
springtime.
We're both pretty hyped about spring. Clearly,
finally some warm weather coming in, and on the topic of spring, we're moving into Easter. And so, since I spoke about Glorpo last time, it kind of put me in this mind state of I need to talk about something a little different,
something other than our historic nightmare underwater clown.
Yes. So I cheated. I actually did 2 topics for today.
Ooh.
I did a little bit of studying the Easter Bunny origins. Are you familiar with the Easter Bunny origins?
No, just those Cadbury Head commercials with the rabbit that sounds like a chicken.
So anyways, I did a little bit of studying on this Easter Bunny stuff.
Yeah, why do we have an Easter Bunny?
So it started off in Europe, I believe, and they actually call it the Easter hare.
Okay.
So it's not the Easter Bunny over there, it's the Easter hare. And this was back in the Neolithic era. They were actually doing ritual burials for bunnies alongside humans.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's believed that it was religious significance representing rebirth.
Okay.
Especially because rabbits multiply very quickly, and it's springtime, so it was believed that they kind of
a symbol of rebirth.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, sir. So this even happened up into the Iron Age. Those burials were still pretty common, and people weren't allowed to eat hare or rabbits because of the religious significance.
Oh wow.
So it's believed that the reason why we have rabbits in spring and Easter is because of the festival of a Saxon goddess named I don't know how to pronounce her name properly, but I believe it's Oester. So you spell that Eostre. So it's kind of close to Easter. And she was a goddess of fertility whose animal symbol was the rabbit. So there's been a little bit of archaeological research to confirm this connection. There was accounts from the 1600s. That's where Easter egg hunts started.
Okay.
So this is Germany.
Well, that goes back way longer than I thought.
Yeah, it does. And it's believed that the Easter Bunny arrived in the Americas in America via German immigrants in the 1700s. They brought that belief system with them. And they actually had an egg-laying rabbit named Osterhase. and kids would make little nests for the rabbit, and then it's kind of like Santa Claus. It would come and lay colorful eggs, and if you would leave out carrots and little snacks for the rabbit would leave you gifts.
Okay, so it's like the milk and cookies.
Yeah. So the rabbits and the eggs were kind of tied into this symbol of fertility, and that's been going around since antiquity, or that association, and eventually it just moved into being associated with Easter time. As we're moving into spring from winter, things become alive again, and the rabbit just represents this cycle of life and death.
Dude, thanks for bringing that up. I really like those stories where you take something that we all just kind of take for granted, that, Easter, rabbits, Christmas, Santa Claus, and it's delve really, into like, where did we get that?
Yeah, why eggs, why rabbits for Easter? So I touched on that a little bit, and it was something that I found very interesting and something I want to share with our listeners.
Yeah, dude, thanks for enlightening me. Yes. Well, thank you for listening to Enlighten Me, and we'll see you next month.
See you next month, everybody.
This podcast is a production of the Division of Marketing and Communications at Texas State University. Podcasts appearing on the Texas State Podcast Network represent the views of the host and guests, not of Texas State University.